So we are back on with Vigil TV, and
So, have the policemen coming at 7 every day, or
Yeah,
God?
we'll find out today.
what has been going on? Can you?
We've been harassed about our protest. We've been led to believe that they are controlling our protest, that uh, we will protest to their specifications down to the letter. So we can't have um, we can't have our signs all spread out because then they become and now when I say spread out, our signs were strategically placed to where they met the ADA standards that anybody getting in and out of their car, handicap or otherwise, could freely get in and out of their car. So our signs was placed along the street poles and the paper boxes. We had a lot of signs there. And the officers have come along and said that our signs are a tripping hazard and they're a nuisance. So every morning for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they've been coming and trying to confiscate the signs or tell us that we can only have one sign at a time. But I carry four signs. And I don't carry the signs. I put the signs where I place them, and that's where they stay until the police comes, and then we get into this back and forth volley of what can be and what can't be. And 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, I always end up being the victor because they go away empty-handed, and the message still hadn't gotten across to me. But my other colleagues are getting the message, and for some reason, I don't know why they're getting that message and I'm not.
Now, the message is something that you seem to be rejecting. You're saying it's baloney.
Yeah, it is. I believe it is baloney because before this all started happening, they gave us some ordinances that we had to follow. They said that we had been observed doing these specific things: urinating in public, having sex in public, hindering pedestrians right of way, hindering pedestrians getting in and out of their cars right away, and then there's also some other little ones that fit in there if we're doing them or not. They just threw that in there because it pertains to the sidewalk. So then I had an idea. We look at these because these are real ordinances. They're Oregon ordinances that
There's the Oregon Revised Statute, but there's Portland City Code. And
right,
Portland City Code is it's usually what they're talking about.
if we are being written up by these ordinances, these are what we'll be fighting in court. And they would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that we intentionally meant to do this. So these would be the ordinances that we would have to be fighting in court. So what my idea was, we clean up our act. I tried to get everybody to clean up their act, but it didn't happen. So then it became a tug and war between protesters and squatters. You know, people want to squat, they want a right to sleep comfortably, but at the same time, they're getting in the way of the protesters.
Right.
So I tried to compromise and say, hey, unless we work together, we're gonna lose this. And then you aren't gonna have anywhere to sleep. But me, see, I can sleep anywhere. I don't need a group of people to be homeless. I can do it by myself. So that didn't happen. So what the officers did was they came out with another sign that said that unless these things are really corrected, they're going to diligently start enforcing these little ordinances. So I once again went around and explained to the people it was a must that we try to comply. We show the public that we are civil. So that didn't happen either. So
And we had like 40 people.
yeah, we had a significant amount of people. We had them going around the building. So now They came again and they broke us up when they used the fact that they wanted to clean the sidewalks off. So they broke us up there. They sent us across the street. It scattered us a
Now,
little bit.
we actually had one of the protesters, Mike, call and ask them to clean the sidewalk because we'd asked them not to spray us with water, and they had pretty much left it alone. Somebody said, if you don't spray us with water, we will sweep our own sidewalk, and people have been doing that, but it never got washed.
Right.
So Mike called them and asked them to do that, and they gave a specific time that they would be doing that, and they did it during a single day. People were pretty hysterical about the idea that we were going to get moved.
Right. Everybody jumped to conclusions, but there was nothing in the piece of paper that said anything about us having to have to move. You know, all the paper said was that these are the ordinances that's going to be focused on, and it was these. It had to do with the sidewalk, this right of way, this thoroughfare, and all the way around the building. So on the sides of the buildings, those two sides of the building have been deemed high traffic areas. And I don't know what a high traffic area is, but you know, if I use my own imagination, I would believe a high traffic area is somewhere in New York or a mall. That's where people are constantly going in and out, in and out, in and out.
That's a TriMet
Right.
thing that they're doing, and high traffic zone is actually all of downtown Portland, just about.
Right.
And it's defined by where 405 and the waterfront,
Right.
Irving Street, all of that. It's all in that 14A.
Right.
Point
And we were nowhere
50.
near TriMet.
Well, right there where the
Right.
the bus stop is.
Right. We were nowhere near that bus stop. We were
Yeah.
two windows. See how the-
TriMet has used even Homeland Security as their bodyguards for protecting their little areas. They're really, you know, TriMet, they're RoboCops. They're pretty hell-bent on keeping people away from areas of the city. So I'm not surprised. But anyway, so they deem these sides off limits.
off limits. And so for the last 3 weeks, they've been coming in and systematically looking at our signs and telling us what we can do, what we can't do, how we got to do this, and how not to do this. And slowly and surely, our protesters, or the real protesters, some have stayed behind to back me, or I don't know why they stay behind, maybe for their own selfish gain. You know, this is as long as I stand up to them, then they'll have a place to sleep. So, and then there's the other ones that just scattered. They up and they ran, and that left our numbers down to what you're looking at right now.
Well, there's also the people who come and go as they
Right.
need to in their lives, and you know, we rotate.
Right.
There won't be. There'll be half a dozen people here at a time. There won't be that many people every day.
Well,
You know.
during the day, there's only 3 of us during the day. That man, you know. So we're talking about getting a table out here. We're talking about bringing our boxes back, and we're talking about applying pressure, the same amount of pressure that they're applying to us. We're talking about applying that pressure back.
Yeah.
And you know, my idea was to put out a diorama, a couple of dioramas. One diorama would be a scene of us, of what we're doing: city hall, sidewalks, sleepers, people digging in and out of trash cans. That is unacceptable behavior. You know, I don't understand how City Hall could look out their windows and view this every day without having some type of a solution. You know, hey, at night, when I go to sleep or close my eyes, sometimes I have really cool ideas, which turn out to be dreams. So I know if I'm having dreams, City Hall probably are having dreams also. And I don't want to believe that they're not. But if they're not, they're some cold-hearted people.
Right. I mean, the fact that we're here doesn't mean that homelessness just happened recently with the Occupy movement. I mean, the fact that there's people here is just another location.
Right.
This is a demonstration, but I mean, this is reality.
Right. This is.
And it's not the first time that this particular demonstration has taken place.
Has taken place. No, this is not. This is probably second or third time. One time Barry said he did it when he was in his early 30s, and then there's another time that I know of where a little homeless village came out of it. That village has been around for 14, 15 years now.
Are you talking about Dignity Village?
Dignity Village, yeah. And
which is now over by Gateway, but they have run those people off over and over and over again.
Right, when they were here,
yeah,
they had run them off over and over and over again. You know, and then
they even went so far as to decide that the intersection of overpasses that they were under in this little triangle area, I think by Delta Park or somewhere in that area, that they were going to make that into a refuse composting zone.
Right.
And they came and parked all their trucks there.
Right.
And it looked very much like they just made up a reason.
Right, did it on
like,
purpose.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, we are using this area. See? Look at us using this area when they weren't using it.
Well, no, that's it. The little area that they gave Dignity Village is in fact a compost, their composting area, compost pile. So they gave half of it to Dignity Village. And 2 months ago, they just renewed a lease to those guys. So if those guys aren't paying anything, they've not been paying anything for at least 13, 14 years. And that is affordable living at its best that I can see. Not TPI, not the Blanchet House, or not City Century Concern. You know, because all those new buildings that are coming up, those buildings cost money to build. And those buildings need to make their money back. And the people that are running, that they let run those buildings, are gonna see that those buildings make their money back. And the building can't make its money back if it's giving its affordable housing to the undesirable.
So you basically just have to have renters.
Yeah, real renters. So they didn't even say it like so many floors. When I got out of prison, I had the privilege of meeting somebody that took me into the I was gun shy. So there was, you know, when I got out of prison, you know, I couldn't face a person with the person that had a responsibility of either trying to give me a job or trying to rent to me, or I couldn't face one of them people, you know, and with confidence in my eyes. So I met this gal that said, hey, we're gonna go in, we're gonna look at these buildings, and I was able to look at these buildings, City Century Concern, and so many of those floors were deemed for renters that could pay for them, and then so many of them was deemed as affordable living. And I was able to go in there and see these buildings for what they really were. And I didn't see, they showed me an apartment that they said was affordable living, but I didn't see anybody in there that fit that description to affordable living. What I did see was, I thought they could have been college students.
So somebody who really has no income is not provided for in any of these programs?
No. And they tell you to even get one of the apartments, you have to be making under $1,100 a month. So if you have a job if you got a full-time job making, and that's what, $9 to $10, you're screwed from affordable living. You have to get you a regular $500, $600 a month apartment, and you're barely making that rent.
Right.
So that's city-centric concern. That's all these nonprofits, TPI, the Blanche House, Join.
Did you know that if they declare something an illegal campground, prior to giving 24-hour notice and tagging belongings so everybody sees it,
Right.
they have to call Join, so Join has the ability to do an outreach and help people find something else?
They did that a long time ago, but
It's still in the city code that they have to do that.
Right. I don't see them doing it now. You know what? And the only thing Join does, like, so the one night when we were gearing up to butt heads with the law, so Join pulls up in this van and offered a ride to safety. Hey, you can come with us. This is their words. You can come with us and you won't have to be involved in this. And when asked where they're going to take us, Join, the people from Join said, away from here. And when asked for clarification, they responded with, well, let's just get away from here. And in my eyes, that told me they didn't know where they was gonna drop these people off at, but they were gonna drop them off somewhere away from here.
Right.
Which doesn't solve the problem.
So I forgot that was Join. I remember that, man.
Yeah, that don't solve the problem at all. You know, in fact, that if anything, that worsens the problem, because you put them in an area where people are really zero tolerance, then you got homeless bashing, you got poor people bashing, you got people coming out of their homes and really berating and chasing the undesirable, which is me, out of their yard. And I might not be in their yard. I'm in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, and it may as well be their yard.
Yeah, not in my backyard. That's
right. Not in my backyard.
So, and they also are seeming to be happy when people are in the outskirts, dark alleys where businesses are not going to complain, because
Right.
they don't care that there's gum on their stairs. They certainly don't care, if there's houseless people sleeping in.
I honestly believe that.
So the out of sight, out of mind is a sickness of the soul, and somehow it's possible that maybe we're making people feel bad, like they're having to see something they wish didn't exist. I'm
Right.
hoping that people start to be unaccepting of people out on the street.
I only want people to feel bad because they don't have to feel bad that I'm out here.
No.
They should feel bad that, you put your mom, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, or your kid, your son, you put them in a home and you think they're going to be cared for. But then all of a sudden when budget cuts come along and the city has to close any of these facilities, these people in turn get turned out onto the streets with no other facility to go to. And then these people are your loved ones, and they are out here susceptible to robbery, to predators, to anything.
Right.
And this is what I have a problem with.
So we
that-
should not be accepting of the idea that people would be out here vulnerable,
Yeah.
let alone harassed and having their blankets taken from them.
Yes, with
And
no help.
that's why we're here, though. I mean, these folks who work here
These folks.
are going to see the reality of it. They may not see some of the worse areas, because
Right.
I mean, this is a protest, so it's not it's not going to shock them like if they were to go down,
Right.
on Park and Cooch or whatever,
Right. They go further into town to see it. No, it's not going to shock them here because, like I could imagine what people are being told down there. Hey, those guys up there, they don't say protesters. I could just imagine what they're being told. If you need the place to sleep where they don't get bothered, go uptown in front of City Hall.
That's been told to many people.
So,
and a lot of those people actually have turned out to be really good protesters. They're not limping along. The folks who want safety by being in the light and understand that this is a protest, we got to get to them when they get here and let them know that this is a protest.
This is a protest.
And you're participating with a group of people,
right.
And there's some consensus, and that includes cleaning up your stuff.
Right.
If folks just want to, squat, then
there are
maybe
places. Other places.
Yeah,
in
there
the
are
city.
places where you're not going to have an air horn put in your ear.
Right. Right.
I'm about ready to start doing that to somebody who's taking advantage and just, you like it here? Sorry about the unexpected bouts of rain and
right.
No, I won't do that.
Well, no, the
but
it
is horrible though that somebody would come here and just start. Oh, you guys made a nice space. Now I'm gonna just junk it up and
I'm gonna poop
yell
all
at
over it.
people.
I'm gonna mess it all up.
And we actually had probably 25 people at once being awesome.
Right.
I don't think we actually had the problem we're talking about until it got up around 40.
Right.
So manageable seemed to be, 24 people.
Right. Well,
that's impressive. And a lot of those folks came here because they heard that it was a safe place to go.
Right.
Not everybody wants a safe place to go. Some people, would rather have a dim place to go where there aren't cops.
Right.
And they wouldn't want to be here. I guess the Justice Center is a place for people who don't mind being right in front of cops all the time.
Right.
It's keyless thing to think that would kind of clean up a protest right there.
Right.
What kind of person want to break the law right there?
Right.
Hey, come into the lobby and have a drink of water.
Yep.
Yeah. Empty your pockets. You're going to jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it seems like that would be the case here. But I don't know. Well, is it 7 yet?
Yes.
7?
About 7:04 or 5.
I really want a lemonade or something.
I think I smell it. 7:06.
Nice.
I think I smell lemonade.
What's up?
Hey, can you hold the camera? Nah. That's the off button. Look, that button there, that's the off button. So you got to hold it in the middle or where my hand is. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna get some water inside.
Okay. She said she's going into there to get some water.
Yeah, that's right.
That is the dungeon.
I'm going into the dungeon. Is there before I do, let me get some stuff cleaned up.
Maybe you can get her signs.
That's the building, you guys. Look at that. That's a solar panel.
Get her sign.
Her what?
Any of her signs.
Oh yeah, we already did that last night. Way ahead of everybody.